This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recorded by Laurie Ann Walden. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 8. 26 Ways to Cook Bluefish. Baked Bluefish à l'Italienne. Score and scale the bluefish and put it into a buttered pan with 3 tablespoonfuls each of white wine and mushroom liquor, a tablespoonful of chopped onion, half a dozen chopped mushrooms, and salt and pepper to season. Cover with buttered paper and bake for 15 minutes. Take out the fish and add to the sauce half a teaspoonful of beef extract dissolved in half a cupful of boiling water. Add a wineglassful of white wine and thicken with 1 tablespoonful each of butter and browned flour. Pour the sauce over the fish, sprinkle with chopped parsley, and serve. Baked Bluefish 1. Clean, scrape, and split the fish and take out the backbone. Gash the flesh and insert a thin slice of salt pork under the skin. Make a stuffing of 1 cupful of breadcrumbs, 2 tablespoonfuls of chopped salt pork, and salt, minced parsley, chopped onion, red pepper, kitchen bouquet, and tomato ketchup to season. Add 1 egg well beaten. Fill the fish and sew up. Lay on thin slices of salt pork and bake, basting frequently with the fat. Garnish with cress and lemon. Baked Bluefish 2. Clean a large bluefish, put into a baking pan, pour over it a cupful of boiling salted water, cover and bake for an hour, basting frequently. Put on a serving platter and thicken the sauce with browned flour, seasoning with salt, pepper, Worcestershire and tomato ketchup. Serve with a garnish of sliced lemon. Baked Bluefish 3. Make a stuffing of breadcrumbs, 2 tablespoonfuls of minced onion, a teaspoonful of minced parsley, 3 tablespoonfuls of butter, 1 egg well beaten, and salt and pepper to season. Stuff the fish and tie securely. Bake in a pan with a cupful of hot water and a tablespoonful of butter, basting frequently. Take out the fish, boil up the sauce, add a tablespoonful of ketchup, a tablespoonful of browned flour wet with 4 tablespoonfuls of cold water, and the juice of a lemon. Cook until thick and strain. Baked Bluefish 4. Prepare a stuffing of crumbs, grated onion, beaten egg, and capers. Stuff a large bluefish and sew up. Season with salt and pepper, rub with butter, and add sufficient boiling water. Bake, baste frequently, and serve with any preferred sauce. Baked Bluefish 5. Make a stuffing of 1 cupful of breadcrumbs, a tablespoonful of melted butter, and salt and pepper to season. Fill the fish and sew firmly. Gash the fish and lay strips of pork in the gashes. Cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and add sufficient boiling water to keep from burning. Bake for an hour, basting frequently. Garnish with parsley and lemon and serve with tomato sauce. Baked Bluefish 6. Slit a large bluefish, take out the bone, put in a buttered baking dish, and season with salt and pepper. Fry a chopped onion in butter, add half a dozen chopped mushrooms, 3 tablespoonfuls of chopped cooked eggplant, and a teaspoonful of minced parsley. Add 2 cupfuls of stock and cook for 15 minutes. Thicken with a tablespoonful or more of flour rubbed smooth in cold water and pour over the fish. Sprinkle with crumbs, dot with butter, and bake for an hour in a moderate oven. Baked Bluefish with white wine sauce. Put a cleaned bluefish into a buttered pan with salt, pepper, minced parsley, sweet herbs, a sliced onion, 2 cupfuls of white wine, and 1 cupful of white stock. Cover with a buttered paper and cook for 40 minutes, basting as required. Take out the fish, strain the sauce, and thicken with a tablespoonful of flour cooked in butter. Boil for 10 minutes, add 3 tablespoonfuls of butter, the juice of half a lemon, and 3 egg yolks well beaten. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve. Baked Bluefish à la Naples. Prepare the fish according to directions given for Baked Bluefish 2. Fry in butter for 5 minutes 2 tablespoonfuls each of chopped onion, carrot, and lean raw ham. Add 12 peppercorns, 2 cloves, and a sprig of marjoram. Add 2 1/2 tablespoonfuls of flour and cook until brown. Add gradually 1 cupful of brown stock and 1 1/4 cupfuls of white wine. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Strain, reheat, pour over the fish, sprinkle with minced parsley, and serve. Boiled Bluefish. Prepare according to directions given for boiled bass. Broiled Bluefish I. Split the fish down the back and soak for half an hour in brine. Rinse in fresh water, dry on a towel, and broil on a buttered broiler. Serve on a hot platter with melted butter poured over, and garnish with watercress and sliced lemon. Broiled Bluefish II. Clean and split down the back, season with salt and pepper, and broil according to directions previously given. Sprinkle with minced parsley and lemon juice, and pour over a little melted butter. Serve with a border of mashed potatoes. Pan-broiled bluefish. Lay the fish flesh side down in a well-greased, very hot pan. Turn with a pancake turner. Broiled bluefish au beurre noir. Broil a bluefish according to directions previously given. Mix together 1 tablespoonful each of vinegar and minced parsley, 1 teaspoonful of lemon juice, and salt and pepper to season. Put 2 tablespoonfuls of butter into a frying pan, and when it browns, add the other ingredients. Bring to the boil and pour it over the broiled fish. Broiled bluefish with mustard sauce. Broil a bluefish according to directions previously given, and sprinkle with lemon juice. Pour over a cream sauce to which prepared mustard has been added. Matelote of bluefish. Prepare according to directions given for matelote of blackfish, using white wine instead of claret. Stuffed Bluefish I. Prepare according to directions given for stuffed sea bass. Stuffed Bluefish II. Scrape, clean, and dry a large bluefish. Chop 3 onions fine and fry in butter. Add enough mashed potatoes to make the required quantity of stuffing, and season with salt, pepper, minced parsley, and melted butter. Fill the fish and sew up. Rub with melted butter, put a little hot water into the pan, and bake for 30 minutes, basting as required. Garnish with lemon and parsley. Escalloped Bluefish. Flake cold cooked bluefish and mix it with an equal quantity of mashed potatoes. Fill buttered shells, sprinkle with grated cheese, cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Fillets of Bluefish à la Duxelles. Skin, bone, and fillet a bluefish. Season with salt and pepper and cook with melted butter and lemon juice until firm. Take from the fire and cool. Prepare a Duxelles sauce, boil down until thick, and cook the fish with it. Dip in crumbs, then in beaten egg, then in crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve with a diluted sauce poured around the fish. Fillets of bluefish with anchovy sauce. Prepare the fish according to directions given in the preceding recipe, cooking with white wine as well as lemon juice. Prepare a cream sauce and add to it 2 tablespoonfuls each of butter and anchovy paste. Pour over the fish and serve. Bluefish à la Carrienne. Scale and score a 2-pound bluefish and put in a buttered baking dish with 3 tablespoonfuls each of mushroom liquor and white wine, and salt and pepper to season. Cover with a buttered paper and bake for 15 minutes. Take out the fish and add to the sauce 3 tablespoonfuls of stewed and strained tomatoes and 1 tablespoonful of chopped, cooked, smoked beef tongue. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve. Bluefish à la Vénitienne. Prepare according to directions for baked bluefish à l'Italienne, adding to it a chopped tomato and 6 whole mushrooms. Sprinkle with crumbs, dot with butter, brown in the oven, and sprinkle with minced parsley. Fried fillets of bluefish. Cut the fish into fillets and soak for half an hour in olive oil and lemon juice. Dip in crumbs, then in beaten egg, then in seasoned cracker crumbs, and set into a cold place for an hour. Fry in deep fat, and serve with tartar sauce. Fried Bluefish. Clean the fish, season with salt and pepper, dredge with flour, and fry in plenty of hot lard. Drain on brown paper and garnish with parsley. Steamed Bluefish. Season the fish with salt and pepper and pour over it a cupful of vinegar. Let stand for an hour, pour off the vinegar, and steam for 20 minutes. Serve with any preferred sauce. End of Section 8.
Is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Reading by Robin Cotter, Toronto, Ontario, March 2007. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 9. 5 Ways to Cook Butterfish. Fried Butterfish. 1. Trim, draw, and clean the fish. Wipe dry, dip in milk, roll in flour, and fry in a frying pan in plenty of clear, hot fat. Drain on a cloth, sprinkle with salt, and garnish with lemon and parsley. Fried Butterfish. 2. Clean, wash, and dry the fish, rub with flour, season with salt and pepper, dip in beaten egg, then in cracker dust or sifted breadcrumbs. Fry in deep fat. Fried Butterfish. 3. Clean and gash the fish, roll in cornmeal, and sauté in hot salt pork fat. Serve with tartar sauce. Butterfish with fine herbs. Prepare according to directions given for sole with fine herbs. Boiled Butterfish. Cover well cleaned and lightly gashed butterfish with boiling water. Season with 1 chopped onion, parsley and thyme, salt and pepper. Boil gently for about 10 minutes if small. Take from the water and serve with scalded milk seasoned with butter, pepper, salt, and minced parsley. End of Section 9.
LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, LibriVox.org. Recording by Gesine. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 10. 22 Ways to Cook Carp. Baked Carp. 1. Clean a carp and cover it with salted cold water and vinegar. Soak for an hour, then drain and dry. Stuff with seasoned crumbs, sew up, and put into a deep baking pan. Brush with beaten egg, sprinkle with breadcrumbs, and dot with butter. Add 2 sliced onions and a pinch of sweet herbs, a cupful each of sweet wine and stock, and a teaspoonful of anchovy paste. Bake for an hour, basting as needed. Take out the fish, strain the liquor, thicken with a tablespoonful of butter rolled in flour, and season with salt, pepper, lemon juice, and a pinch of sugar. Baked Carp. 2. Let the fish stand in vinegar for 15 minutes. Stuff with seasoned crumbs and sew up. Brush with beaten egg, cover with crumbs, and dot with butter. Put into a baking pan with 2 chopped onions, a bunch of parsley, a cupful of water, and a teaspoonful of Worcester sauce. Bake in a moderate oven, basting as required. Add enough water to make a cupful of the liquid remaining after taking up the fish. Thicken with a tablespoonful of flour, blended with an equal quantity of butter, strain, add the juice of a lemon, and pepper and salt to season. Stewed Carp. 1. Clean and scale a carp, pouring boiling vinegar over the fish to facilitate the process. Wrap in a cloth and cook it gently in court bouillon. Serve with a sauce made of court bouillon, strained and thickened, with a few capers and a little anchovy sauce added. Stewed carp 2. Mix together 1 tablespoonful of salt, half a teaspoonful of pepper, and a pinch of powdered mace. Rub a cleaned fish with it, both inside and out. Leave it in a cold place for 2 hours. Then put into a kettle, cover with boiling water, add a small onion sliced, a sprig of parsley, a bay leaf, and a teaspoonful of marjoram. Simmer until done, drain, and serve with cream sauce. Boiled carp. Put a clean carp into a saucepan with sufficient beef stock to cover. Add an onion, 4 cloves, a bunch of sweet herbs, and salt to season. Simmer until the fish is done. Take out the fish and strain the sauce. Add 2 cupfuls of beef stock and thicken with browned flour. Boil until thick. Add a wineglassful of white wine and the juice of half a lemon. Pour the sauce over the fish and serve. Pickled carp. Put a clean carp into a fish kettle and pour over it boiling vinegar and a cupful of claret. Add 2 carrots and 3 onions chopped fine, and sage, thyme, bay leaves, parsley, cloves, and bruised garlic to season. Simmer for an hour and let cool in the liquid. Carp à l'italienne. Clean, scale, and slice the fish. Fry with onion, parsley, thyme, salt, and pepper, using plenty of butter. Add white wine to cover and simmer for 10 minutes, then put in the oven and bake until tender. Add 2 lemons sliced and 1 cupful each of chopped almonds and currants. Cook long enough to soften the currants, adding stock if necessary. Carp à l'allemande. Clean and cut into strips 2 pounds of carp. Add 1 wineglassful of claret, 1 cupful of beef stock, 1 cupful of chopped mushrooms, a carrot, and an onion chopped fine, and salt, pepper, thyme, clove, and parsley to season. Simmer for an hour, add a tablespoonful of capers, and serve on buttered toast. Carp à la bordelaise. Chop fine an onion, a carrot, and a bunch of parsley. Add 2 cupfuls of white wine, a clove of garlic, 3 cloves, and salt and pepper to season. Cook for 15 minutes, then add 2 quarts of cold water. Boil the carp in this sauce and drain. Prepare a sauce as follows. Chop fine a small onion and a shallot. Season with salt and pepper and cook until soft with a wineglassful of claret. Add 2 cupfuls of beef stock and bring to the boil. Thicken with 2 tablespoonfuls of browned flour, rubbed smooth in a little cold water. Season with salt, red pepper, minced parsley, and chives, and add a small piece of cooked chopped marrow. Pour over the fish and serve very hot. Broiled carp. Broil as usual and serve with melted butter, lemon juice, and minced parsley poured over it. Carp à la Francaise. Put the cleaned fish into square pieces and put it into a saucepan with 4 tablespoonfuls of olive oil, 1 cupful of claret, and a tablespoonful of butter, blended with an equal quantity of flour. Add a chopped clove of garlic, a shallot, 1/4 pound of mushrooms, and salt, pepper, and minced parsley to season. Cook for 20 minutes and serve. Fried carp 1. Soak the fish overnight in salt water. Drain, rinse in cold water, season with pepper and salt, dredge in flour, and fry in butter. Fried carp 2. Cook the carp in court bouillon, drain, and cut in slices. Cover with a very thick cream sauce and let cool. Dip in crumbs, then in egg and crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Fried carp 3. Clean the fish and cut it into convenient pieces. Dip in milk, then in seasoned flour, and fry in hot fat. Carp à la Coblentz. Boil the fish with 1 cupful of Rhine wine, 2 cupfuls of white stock, 2 carrots and 2 onions sliced, half a cupful of sliced mushrooms and minced parsley, salt, pepper, and sweet herbs to season. Add water if the stock is not sufficient to cover. Boil for half an hour, take the fish up, then thicken the sauce with butter and flour, and add the juice of half a lemon with another tablespoonful of butter. Pour over the fish and serve. Baked carp à la marinière. Clean the fish and line it with bacon. Boil carefully in court bouillon, to which 1/4 of the quantity of white wine has been added. Boil for 5 minutes, then put the pan into the oven and bake for an hour and a half, basting frequently. Take out the fish, strain the liquid, thicken with brown flour, add a wineglassful of white wine, and boil until thick. Rub through a sieve, and add 3 tablespoonfuls of butter. Pour over the fish and serve. Steamed carp. Scale and clean the fish and steam until done. Serve with sour cream or with a drawn butter sauce seasoned with lemon juice. Carp in matelote. Cook the cleaned carp in a fish kettle with 2 sliced onions, a bunch of parsley, a little salt, a few peppercorns, 2 cloves of garlic, a quart of red wine, and a pint of water. Cook slowly for 40 minutes and take out the fish. Strain the sauce and reduce by rapid boiling to 1 quart. Thicken with butter and brown flour and boil for half an hour. Skim, add 3 tablespoonfuls of butter, 1 tablespoonful of anchovy paste, and the juice of a lemon. Pour over the fish and serve. Carp à la bourguignotte. Stew the carp in red wine, drain, and place on a platter. Cook 4 shallots, 2 cloves, a blade of mace, a pinch of thyme, a bay leaf, and a mushroom for 5 minutes in enough red wine to cover. Add enough beef stock to make the required quantity of sauce, and thicken with butter and brown flour. Cook until thick, strain, and pour over the fish. Carp à la Périgueux. Cook the carp in wine and drain. Chop 6 truffles fine. Add a tablespoonful of chopped raw ham, a pinch of thyme, and a bay leaf. Cook for 10 minutes in sufficient white wine to cover. Add a cupful of beef stock and thicken with butter and brown flour. Cook until thick, rub through a sieve, add a tablespoonful of butter and a little anchovy paste and the juice of half a lemon. Carp à la Lyon. Clean the fish and cut into thick slices. Soak for an hour in a marinade of oil and vinegar. Season with salt, pepper, thyme, bay leaves, and chopped onion. Drain, dip in flour, then in beaten egg, then in breadcrumbs mixed with Parmesan cheese. Fry in deep fat and garnish with lemon and parsley. Carp à la Provençale. Stew the carp in court bouillon and white wine. Drain and place on a platter. Cook together 2 tablespoonfuls each of chopped ham and olive oil, 4 bruised cloves of garlic, a pinch of thyme, a bay leaf, a tablespoonful of capers, a peeled lemon sliced, a small bunch of parsley, and paprika to season. Cook for 5 minutes and add enough beef stock to make the required quantity of sauce and cook for 10 minutes. Thicken with brown flour, rub through a sieve, skim, add a tablespoonful of butter and a little anchovy paste and pour over the fish. End of section 10. Recorded by Gesine in May 2007.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 11. 6 Ways to Cook Catfish. Catfish stewed with tomatoes. Slice the fish and fry in butter. When half cooked, add a cupful of water, a chopped onion, a red pepper, and a can of tomatoes. Cook slowly for half an hour and serve with buttered toast. Fried catfish. 1. Clean and cut the fish in squares. Season with salt, pepper, and Worcester sauce. Dip in egg, then crumbs or cornmeal, and fry in deep fat. Fried catfish. 2. Prepare the fish according to directions given above, dredge with seasoned flour, and fry in butter in a frying pan. Fried catfish. 3. Skin and clean the fish, cut into pieces. Soak for an hour in olive oil and vinegar, dip in egg and crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Stewed catfish. Soak the skinned fish in brine for an hour. Put into a saucepan with a chopped onion, cover with cold water, and simmer until they are tender. Take out the fish, season with salt, pepper, and butter, and thicken the liquid in which they were cooked with a tablespoonful each of butter and flour cooked together and mixed with half a cupful of boiling cream. Bring to a boil, add a teaspoonful of minced parsley and 1 egg well beaten. Pour the sauce over the fish and serve. Boiled catfish. Boil the fish according to directions previously given. Thicken the remaining liquid with butter rolled in flour, season with salt, pepper, and lemon juice. Add 2 chopped hard-boiled eggs, pour over the fish, and serve. End of section 11.
Recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Carol Good. www.soundsgood.com. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 12. 67 Ways to Cook Codfish. Baked Codfish 1. Rub the inside of a small fresh cod with butter and lemon juice and put on a buttered drainer in a fish kettle. Rub with butter, sprinkle with chopped mushrooms, shallots, and parsley, lemon juice, and minced garlic. Pour over the fish 3 cupfuls of white wine. Bring to the boil and simmer for an hour and a half. Baste as required. Thicken the liquor with butter and flour and serve with sauce. Baked Codfish 2. Stuff the fish with seasoned crumbs and season with pepper and salt. Pour over 2 cupfuls of sherry and a tablespoonful of mushroom catsup. Add 2 cupfuls of stock, cover with buttered paper, and bake, basting often. When nearly done, sprinkle with breadcrumbs and dot with butter and bake until brown. Take up the fish carefully. Add a teaspoonful of beef extract and a little anchovy paste to the liquor in the baking pan. Strain, add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and the juice of half a lemon. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve. Baked Codfish 3. Prepare according to directions given for Baked Codfish 1, adding a pint of parboiled oysters to the sauce. Baked Salt Codfish. Prepare the fish according to directions given in the recipe for boiled salted cod. Mix with an equal quantity of mashed potatoes. Season. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of melted butter and enough hot milk to make very soft. Put into a buttered baking dish. Rub with butter and bake until brown. Serve with cream or drawn butter sauce. Creamed and baked codfish. Put in a stoneware platter creamed codfish prepared according to directions elsewhere given, and surround with a border of mashed potatoes beaten light with an egg. Cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Baked Codfish à la Montreal. Butter a baking dish and put in the center a large piece of prepared codfish. Surround with boiled potatoes. Rub all thoroughly with butter. Season with pepper and salt and bake in the oven, basting frequently. Serve in the same dish, sprinkling with minced parsley. Baked Codfish à la Nantucket. Prepare a stuffing of 1 cupful of cracker crumbs, 1 cupful of oysters, 1/4 of a cupful of melted butter, and salt, pepper, minced parsley, and lemon juice to season. Clean a 4-pound cod. Sprinkle with salt and pepper. Brush over with lemon juice. Stuff and sew. Rub with butter. Sprinkle with crumbs and add sufficient boiling water to keep from burning. Bake until done, basting as required. Baked Codfish with cheese sauce. Rub the fish with butter and lemon juice. Put it on the grating in the baking pan. Season with salt and pepper and bake, pouring a cupful of white stock under the grating. Take up the fish, cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Strain the liquid, thicken with butter rolled in flour, and season with lemon juice, grated onion, and 4 tablespoonfuls of grated Parmesan cheese. Bring to the boil and serve poured round the fish. Quick baked codfish. Put a thick slice of codfish into a baking pan. Rub with butter, season with pepper and salt, and add sufficient boiling water to moisten. Bake for half an hour, basting frequently. Thicken the gravy with butter and flour, pour over the fish, and serve. Baked rock cod with dressing. Season breadcrumbs with grated onion, sage, salt, and pepper. Add a tablespoonful of butter broken into bits and sufficient milk to moisten. Fill and sew up the fish. Lay in a baking pan on thin slices of salt pork. Rub with butter and cover with thin slices of pork. Pour over 2 tablespoonfuls of tomato catsup and half a cupful of boiling water. Bake for an hour, basting frequently. Baked cod a la Bedford. Soak the cleaned fish for 2 hours in olive oil seasoned with salt, pepper, and Worcestershire. Drain and put into a baking dish. Rub with butter and sprinkle with crumbs. Add 2 wineglassfuls of Catawba wine and 2 cupfuls of oyster liquor. Cover with buttered paper and bake for 40 minutes. Take up the fish, thicken the sauce with butter and flour, season with lemon juice and minced parsley. Pour around the fish and serve. Baked codfish with cream. Parboil part of a codfish in salted water. Remove the bones and put the pieces into a baking dish in layers with cream sauce and seasoning between. Cover with crumbs, dot with butter, sprinkle with grated nutmeg, and bake. Boiled salt codfish 1. Soak 2 pounds of salted cod overnight. Put into fresh water. Bring to the boil and serve with melted butter. Boiled salt codfish 2. Soak the fish overnight. Change the water and simmer until done. Serve with a drawn butter sauce. Boiled salted codfish with egg sauce. Prepare the fish according to directions given in the preceding recipe. Cook 1 teaspoonful of cornmeal until thick in 1 cupful of milk. Add 1 cupful of mashed potatoes, the codfish chopped, 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, 2 well-beaten eggs, and pepper to taste. Prepare an egg sauce. Pour over the fish and serve. Boiled codfish with oyster sauce. Boil the fish in salted water. Season with pepper, cloves, and lemon peel. Prepare a cream sauce and cook oysters in it until the edges curl. Pour over the fish and serve. Boiled codfish with cream sauce. Boil the codfish slowly in salted water. Melt 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of flour and cook thoroughly. Add 2 cupfuls of cream and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add salt, pepper, and anchovy paste to season. Pour over the fish. Sprinkle with minced parsley and serve. Boiled codfish a la Hollandaise. Boil the fish according to directions previously given and serve with Hollandaise sauce. Boiled codfish with caper sauce 1. Prepare according to directions given for boiled codfish with cream sauce, omitting the anchovy paste and adding 2 tablespoonfuls each of capers and melted butter. Boiled codfish with caper sauce 2. Boil a small fresh codfish in court bouillon and allow it to cool partially in the liquor. Serve with caper sauce. Boiled codfish creamed. Sew up the fish in a cloth dredged with flour and boil in salted and acidulated water. Unwrap and serve with sauce made of half a cupful each of milk and boiling water. Thicken with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter rolled in flour. Take from the fire, add 2 eggs well beaten, and salt, pepper, and minced parsley to season. Add a tablespoonful of capers or tarragon vinegar, pour over the fish, and garnish with slices of hard-boiled eggs. Boiled codfish with egg sauce. Prepare the fish according to directions given in the recipe for boiled codfish with oyster sauce. Serve with egg sauce. Codfish balls with egg sauce. Free 2 pounds of fresh cod from all bones. Chop it and season with salt, pepper, grated nutmeg, and a little finely chopped lemon peel, adding chopped parsley, marjoram, a little soaked breadcrumbs with the water drained out well. Mix with 2 unbeaten eggs and form into balls the size of a tomato. Fry a large sliced onion in 2 ounces of butter and a cupful of boiling water. Let it boil up, then put in the balls. When cooked, beat 3 eggs. Strain in the juice of 2 large lemons, adding a little chopped parsley. Stir this well in without letting it boil. Then dish up the balls and strain the sauce over. Garnish with parsley. If liked, add 3 or 4 cut-up tomatoes to the balls. Codfish a la Creole. 1. Flake 1 pound of cooked codfish, add it to 1 cupful of boiled rice, half a can of tomatoes strained, a chopped onion, 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, and salt and pepper to season. Cook slowly for half an hour. Codfish a la Creole 2. Soak overnight 2 pounds of salt codfish. Fry brown in lard a chopped onion and a bean of garlic. Mix with 3 tablespoonfuls of browned flour and cook thoroughly. Add a can of tomatoes which have been rubbed through a sieve and simmered until very thick. Drain and rinse the fish. Pour boiling water upon it and let stand until cool. Pick out the bones, add to the sauce, and reheat. Codfish Puffs. Prepare the fish according to directions given in the preceding recipe. Mix with an equal quantity of mashed potatoes, add a heaping tablespoonful of butter, and mix thoroughly, using a little hot cream to moisten it. Add 4 eggs well beaten and mix thoroughly. Drop by spoonfuls into boiling fat and fry brown. Codfish au gratin. Cook in court bouillon and cool in the liquor. Scrape off the skin, take out the bones, and put in the baking dish in which it is to be served. Sprinkle it thickly with grated cheese and pour over a bechamel sauce. Sprinkle with crumbs and bake golden brown. Escalloped codfish and macaroni. Mix together equal parts of cooked and broken macaroni and flaked boiled cod. Mix with cream sauce. Fill a buttered baking dish. Sprinkle thickly with grated cheese. Cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Fricasseed Salt Codfish. Soak overnight in cold water 2 pounds of salt codfish. Take out the bones, cover with fresh water, and bring to the boil. Fry in olive oil 2 chopped onions and a green pepper with a sliced tomato, a bruised clove of garlic, and a chili pepper. Add 6 cupfuls of stock, 3 tablespoonfuls of tomato catsup, a tablespoonful of minced parsley, and 2 cupfuls of peeled raw potatoes cut into dice. Cook until the potatoes are nearly done. Then add the codfish and boil for 5 or 10 minutes. Creamed codfish. Flake cold cooked codfish or salted codfish which has been soaked and boiled. Mix with a cream sauce, adding 1 or 2 well-beaten eggs to the sauce just before serving. Escalloped codfish with cheese. Prepare according to directions given for creamed codfish. Cover with grated cheese, crumbs, and butter, and bake in the oven. Broiled salt codfish. Soak 2 pounds of salt codfish overnight. In the morning, change the water, add a chopped onion, bring to the boil, and cool. Drain, wipe dry, rub with melted butter, and broil. Serve with drawn butter sauce. Codfish Souffle. Boil half a pound of salt codfish according to directions previously given. Mash the fish and mix with 2 cupfuls of mashed potatoes, pepper to season, and the yolks of 2 eggs well beaten. Beat thoroughly. Fold in the stiffly beaten whites of the eggs and bake in a hot oven until well puffed and brown. Codfish and Macaroni. Soak overnight half a pound of salt codfish. Boil for 20 minutes 2 ounces of broken macaroni. Melt 1 tablespoonful of butter. Add 1 of flour and cook thoroughly. Add 1 cupful of stewed and strained tomatoes and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt, pepper, and grated onion. Add the fish and macaroni and cook for an hour in a double boiler. Codfish à la bonne femme. Soak overnight 3 pounds of salt codfish. Boil for 25 minutes a quart of peeled potatoes with salt, parsley, a clove, and an onion in the water. Add the fish and cook for 10 minutes longer. Arrange the fish on a platter with the drained potatoes for a border. Melt 1 teaspoonful of butter, add 1 of flour, and cook thoroughly. Add 2 cupfuls of water in which the fish was cooked and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire and add the yolks of 2 eggs beaten with a teaspoonful of vinegar and a tablespoonful of melted butter. Season with pepper, pour over the fish and the potatoes, and serve. Codfish à la Beauregard. Prepare according to directions given for creamed codfish, using fresh codfish and omitting the egg. Serve on buttered toast and cover with hard-boiled eggs rubbed through a sieve. Stewed codfish à la Lincoln. Clean and bone 4 pounds of fresh codfish. Slice and scald 2 small onions. Drain and fry soft in salt pork fat. Cut the fish into cubes and season with salt and pepper. Boil the bones in water to cover, with onion and pork fat. Put the fish into a buttered saucepan and strain the boiling liquid over it, using enough to cover. Add the juice of half a lemon and thicken with 1 heaping tablespoonful of butter cooked with 2 of flour. Season with salt, pepper, minced parsley, and tomato or mushroom catsup. Just before the fish is done, add 1 quart of drained oysters and cook until the oysters are plump. Boiled cod's tongue with egg sauce. Soak the tongues overnight. Change the water and boil for 10 minutes. Serve with drawn butter sauce. Fried codfish tongues. Wash the tongues, dip in cold milk, and roll in seasoned flour. Fry in butter and serve with tomato sauce. Cod's tongues à la poulette. Prepare according to directions given for boiled cod's tongues with egg sauce, and serve with a poulette sauce, using for liquid the water in which the tongues were boiled. Codfish tongues à la beurre noir. Prepare the tongues according to directions given in the recipe for boiled cod's tongues with egg sauce. Drain and serve with brown butter, seasoned with salt, pepper, minced parsley, and lemon juice. Codfish fritters. Cut into strips fresh boiled cod or freshened and boiled salt cod. Dip in fritter batter and fry in deep fat. Deviled codfish. Flake cold cooked fish. Mix with an equal quantity of breadcrumbs, the yolks of 2 hard-boiled eggs, and melted butter, grated onion, minced parsley, and pepper and salt to season. Add milk or oyster liquor to moisten, and fill buttered shells. Cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Codfish à la Seville. Wash and dry 1 cupful of rice. Brown it in olive oil and drain. Put into a stew pan and cover with fillets of fresh cod fried in the oil. Add a sliced onion fried, half a dozen sliced tomatoes, and salt, cayenne, and lemon juice to season. Add 2 cupfuls of stock. Put a buttered paper on top, cover the pan, and bake half an hour in the oven. Take out the fish carefully, mix the rice and seasoning together, and serve as a border around the fish. Codfish a la Bechamel. Prepare according to directions given for creamed codfish, omitting the egg and using white stock and milk in equal parts instead of cream. Escalloped Codfish a la Bechamel. Prepare according to directions given for Codfish a la Bechamel, adding the yolks of 3 eggs. Arrange in a baking dish with layers of seasoned crumbs and add sufficient milk to moisten. Cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Codfish a la Flamande. Prepare boiled codfish according to directions previously given. Melt 1 tablespoonful of butter and cook it in a teaspoonful of flour. Add 1 cupful of boiling water and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, add the yolks of 2 eggs well beaten, 4 tablespoons of made mustard, and pepper, vinegar, grated nutmeg, and minced parsley to season. Add gradually half a cup of melted butter. Pour over the fish and serve. Stewed Codfish a la Shrewsbury. Stuff the fish with drained oysters and seasoned crumbs, adding 2 tablespoonfuls of butter in small bits. Sew up, put on the grating in a fish kettle, seasoning with salt, pepper, and minced parsley. Dot with butter and add the oyster liquor and 2 cupfuls each of stock and water. Simmer for 40 minutes, basting as required. Take up the fish, thicken the sauce with butter and flour cooked together, and boil for 10 minutes. Take from the fire, add a tablespoonful of butter, the juice of a lemon, and the yolks of 2 eggs well beaten. Strain over the fish and serve. Salt Codfish a la Brandade. Cut the fish in pieces and soak in cold water for 24 hours. Put into fresh cold water. Bring to the boil and simmer for 20 minutes. Drain, bone, and cool. Mix to a cream with lemon juice and olive oil, adding a little milk if it becomes too thick. Season with salt, pepper, minced parsley, and garlic. Serve with toasted crackers and cheese. Stewed cod with oysters. Cut fresh cod into fillets and put in a baking pan with salt, pepper, and chopped onion to season. Add 1 cupful of white wine and the liquor of 2 dozen parboiled oysters. Cook slowly for 15 minutes. Take out the fish, thicken the sauce with butter and flour cooked together. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of melted butter. Season with lemon juice and pour the sauce over the fish. Garnish with the parboiled oysters and serve. Salted cod with brown butter. Soak the fish for 24 hours and prepare according to directions given for boiled salted cod. Drain, wipe dry, and fry brown in butter, adding a little minced parsley. Codfish Steak. Cut the fish into steaks about 2 inches thick. Season with salt and pepper and let stand for 2 hours. Dredge with cornmeal and fry in salt pork fat. Sprinkle with lemon juice and serve. Broiled codfish steaks with bacon. Prepare the steaks according to directions previously given and serve with a border of thin slices of bacon, fried crisp. Broiled codfish steaks. Soak in salted water for 15 minutes, wipe dry, and let stand for an hour in olive oil and vinegar. Drain, season, and broil on a well-buttered gridiron. Serve with melted butter and minced parsley. Breaded codfish steaks. Season the steaks with salt, pepper, and lemon juice. Dip in egg and crumbs and fry in deep fat. Serve with any preferred sauce. Fried codfish steaks. Clean the steaks, sprinkle with salt and pepper, and dip into flour. Sauté in salt pork fat. Codfish steaks a la Narragansett. Fry the steaks with a chopped onion in butter, seasoning with salt and pepper. Take out and put a tablespoonful of flour into the frying pan. Cook thoroughly. Add 2 cupfuls of water and half a cupful of wine, and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Season with minced parsley and lemon juice. Pour over the fish and serve. Codfish Hash. Flake cold cooked cod. Mix with an equal quantity of mashed potatoes and season to taste. Cook until light brown in butter. Matelote of codfish. Mix together 1 cupful of oysters, 2 cupfuls of breadcrumbs, 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, 1 egg, and a small onion chopped. Stuff a small boned codfish and sew up. Lay the fish on slices of bacon in a baking pan and cover the top with bacon. Add sufficient boiling water and bake for an hour, basting as required. Stewed codfish. Flake cold cooked cod and reheat with butter, pepper, salt, minced parsley, cayenne, and lemon juice. Serve very hot on toast. Fillets of codfish. Clean and bone the fish and cut into thick strips. Put into a buttered saucepan with a little stock. Season, sprinkle with minced parsley, and set into the oven covered with a buttered paper. Serve in a deep platter with a border of mashed potatoes. Fried cod. Prepare the fish according to directions given for fillet of codfish. Season, dredge with flour, dip in egg and breadcrumbs, and fry in deep fat. Fried codfish à la maître d'hôtel. Prepare according to directions given for fried codfish. Serve with a sauce of melted butter, lemon juice, and minced parsley. Fried fillets of codfish. Mix together 1 tablespoonful of olive oil, 2 tablespoonfuls of lemon juice, and salt, grated onion, and paprika to season. Soak fillets of codfish in this for an hour. Then drain, dip into beaten egg, then into breadcrumbs, and fry in deep fat. Drain on brown paper and serve with tartar sauce. Broiled codfish. Split the tail end of the fish and broil. Serve with melted butter, lemon juice, and minced parsley. Cod Fish Pie. Prepare creamed codfish according to directions previously given, seasoning with grated onion. Fill a buttered baking dish and cover with mashed potato, beaten very light with an egg and a little cream. Rub with melted butter. Sprinkle with grated cheese and bake in a quick oven. Scalloped codfish. Prepare the fish according to directions previously given. Flake and prepare according to directions given for creamed codfish. Put into a buttered baking pan with layers of seasoned crumbs between. Add milk to moisten, cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. End of section 12.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Narrated by Sean McKinley. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 13. 45 Ways to Cook Eels. Braised Eel. Skin and clean an eel. Cut it into 2-inch pieces. Sprinkle with salt and let stand for an hour. Soak in cold water for 10 minutes, drain, and dry. Put into a buttered saucepan, seasoning with grated nutmeg, salt, and pepper. Cover with sliced lemon, chopped shallot, minced parsley, and a few peppercorns. Cover the pan and bake in the oven until the fish is brown. Take out the eel and put into a deep dish. Add to the sauce 1 cupful of stock. Bring to the boil and thicken with a tablespoonful each of butter and flour cooked together. Boil until thick. Take from the fire, add the yolks of 3 eggs beaten smooth with a little stock. Bring to the boil. Add a little lemon juice. Strain over the fish and serve. Broiled Eels 1. Skin, clean, and cut up a large eel. Dip into beaten egg, then into crumbs seasoned with grated lemon rind, nutmeg, minced parsley, sweet herbs, pepper, and salt. Broil skin side down on a buttered gridiron, turning when done. Serve with anchovy or tartar sauce. Broiled Eels 2. Clean and cut the eels into 3-inch lengths. Let stand for half an hour in a marinade of oil and lemon juice, seasoned with pepper and salt. Drain, broil, and garnish with fried parsley. Broiled eels with sour sauce. Clean the eels and cut into 5-inch lengths. Boil for 10 minutes in 1 cupful of vinegar and enough cold water to cover, seasoning with salt, peppercorns, carrot, onion, and parsley. Cool in the water, dip in crumbs, then in eggs beaten with a tablespoonful of olive oil for each egg, then in breadcrumbs. Broil as usual. Serve with a sauce made of 2 tablespoonfuls of chopped shallots, fried in 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, added to a wineglassful each of white wine and vinegar. Add 2 cupfuls of stock and thicken with browned flour cooked in butter. Boil for 5 minutes. Add 1 tablespoonful each of chopped mushrooms, parsley, pickles, and capers, and 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Garnish with lemons and parsley. Fried Eels 1. Prepare and cut up the fish according to directions previously given and soak for several hours in vinegar with salt, pepper, and grated lemon peel. Drain, dip into batter, and fry in deep fat. Serve with any preferred sauce. Fried Eels 2. Prepare according to directions previously given and cut into 2-inch pieces. Dredge with flour and sauté in hot lard, or dip into egg and breadcrumbs and fry in deep fat. They may also be dipped into cornmeal before frying. Fried Eels 3. Prepare the eels according to directions given for stewed eels a la Américaine, sprinkling with shallot and parsley also. Let stand for several hours, dip into egg and crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve with any preferred sauce. Fried Eels 4. Clean the eels, cut into 2-inch pieces, and parboil for 8 minutes. Sprinkle with salt and pepper, dip into cornmeal, and sauté in salt pork fat. Eels fried in batter. Cut a large cleaned eel into joints, and soak for several hours in cold water, to which salt, pepper, and vinegar have been added. Drain, dip in batter, and fry in hot fat. Drain on brown paper and serve with tomato sauce. Eels à la Lyonnaise. Clean 2 large eels, cut into 4-inch lengths and remove the bones. Cook in equal parts of white wine and water to cover, adding salt, pepper, a sliced onion, a clove of garlic, and a bunch of parsley. Drain the fish and strain the liquid. Thicken with 2 tablespoonfuls of flour, rubbed smooth with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Boil for 15 minutes and skim. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and the juice of a lemon. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve with a garnish of small onions fried in butter and sugar. Eels à la Virois. Clean 2 large eels and cut into lengths. Cover with salted and acidulated water. Add a bunch of parsley, a sliced onion, and a pinch of powdered sweet herbs. Boil slowly for 10 minutes. Cool and drain. Melt 1 tablespoonful of butter and cook in it 2 tablespoonfuls of flour. Add 2 cupfuls of white stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire and season to taste. Add the yolks of 4 eggs, well beaten and cool. Dip the pieces of eel in this sauce and set on ice. Roll in cracker crumbs, dip in beaten eggs, then in breadcrumbs, and fry brown in deep fat. Eels à la Tartare. Cut up the eel and cook in court bouillon with wine. Drain, dip in egg and crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve with a stiff mayonnaise mixed with chopped parsley, olives, pickles, and capers. Eels à l'Indienne. Chop fine an onion, half a carrot, and a stalk of celery. Fry in butter, dredge with flour, and cook thoroughly. Add enough stock to make the required quantity of sauce and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with mace, thyme, a bay leaf, minced parsley, and curry powder. Strain through a sieve and pour over eels stewed in wine and seasoned with vegetables according to directions previously given. Serve with a border of boiled rice sprinkled with grated Parmesan cheese. Eels à la Normandie. Fry in butter a pound and a half of prepared eels. Add a wineglassful of white wine or cider, a tablespoonful of mushroom ketchup and salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg to season. Simmer for 10 minutes, add 1 cupful of white stock, half a dozen mushrooms, a dozen oysters, and half a dozen shrimps. When cooked, take from the fire, add the yolks of 2 eggs, well beaten, and serve at once. Stuffed eels à l'Italienne. Skin the eel but keep the head on. Remove the backbone and stuff with seasoned crumbs, mixed with minced parsley and mushrooms. Skewer in the form of a circle, put into a saucepan with 2 ounces of butter, a small bunch of parsley, a chopped onion, 2 cupfuls of white wine, and salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg to season. Bake for an hour, basting as required. Drain, take out the parsley, and add to the sauce 2 cupfuls of brown stock and 1 cupful of chopped mushrooms. Boil for 5 minutes and thicken with browned flour cooked in butter. Season with minced parsley and lemon juice. Pour the sauce around the eel and serve. Eels à la London. Fry 4 chopped onions in butter, dredge with flour, and cook thoroughly. Add 2 cupfuls of stock, half a cupful of port wine, 2 bay leaves, and salt and pepper to season. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add 1 large cleaned eel, cut into 2-inch lengths. Cover and cook for 15 minutes. Serve on toast. Eels à la Reine. Prepare and cut up the eels. Fry in butter with half a can of mushrooms and dredge with flour. Add 1 cupful of stock and half a cupful of white wine. Bring to the boil, season with salt, pepper, and a chopped onion, and cook until the eel is tender. Skim, take from the fire, and add the juice of half a lemon, beaten smooth with the yolks of 2 eggs. Eels à la Poulette. Stew the eels in white wine with carrot, onion, parsley, bay leaf, thyme, peppercorns, and salt to season. Drain and serve with poulette sauce. Fricassee of Eel. Prepare the eel according to directions previously given. Cook in equal parts of white wine and water, seasoning with mace, pepper, nutmeg, cloves, sweet herbs, allspice, and salt. Boil until the eels are tender, then skim out. Add a little anchovy paste to the sauce and a spoonful of butter. Bring to the boil, take from the fire, add the yolks of 2 eggs well beaten, pour over the fish, and serve. Fricasseed eels. Skin, clean, and cut up. Cover with cold water, add salt, and minced parsley to season. Cover and cook slowly for an hour. Thicken with a tablespoonful each of butter and flour blended together and make smooth with cold water. Season highly with pepper and serve. Stewed eels with cucumbers. Clean and skin 2 eels, cut into pieces and soak in cold water for an hour. Drain, cover with wine and water, seasoning with salt, pepper, onion, and parsley, and simmer for 15 minutes. Take out the fish and add 3 sliced and parboiled cucumbers. Strain the sauce, thicken with flour cooked in butter, and boil for 10 minutes. Skim, add the yolks of 4 eggs well beaten, and take from the fire. season with red pepper and lemon juice, strain over the fish, and serve. Stewed Eels 1. Put into a saucepan 3/4 of a cupful of butter and fry in it 4 small chopped onions. Add a tablespoonful of flour, cook through, and add 2 cupfuls of boiling water or stock. Cook until thick, stirring occasionally. Then put in 1 large cleaned eel cut into inch pieces. Cover and cook for 15 minutes. Stewed Eels 2. Wash and skin a pint of eels, cut them in pieces 3 inches long, pepper and salt them, and put them into a stew pan. Pour in 1 pint of good soup stock, adding 1 large onion, shredded, 3 cloves, a teaspoonful of grated lemon peel, and a wineglassful of port wine. Stew slowly for half an hour, and pour into a hot dish. Strain the liquor and add a wineglassful of cream thickened with flour, and boil up at once. Pour over the eels and serve. Stewed Eels 3. Clean, skin, and joint the eels. Cover with boiling water, add a tablespoonful of vinegar, and cook for 10 minutes. Drain, cook together 1 tablespoonful of butter and 2 of flour. Add 2 cupfuls of the water in which the eels were cooked. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt, pepper, and grated onion. Then add the eels and reheat. Simmer for 20 minutes. Add a tablespoonful of minced parsley and serve. Stewed Eels 4. Prepare according to directions given above, using veal or fish stock instead of water, and adding a bay leaf to the seasoning. Stewed Eels à l'anglaise. Cook prepared eels in half a bottle of port wine, seasoned with carrot, onion, parsley, bay leaf, thyme, salt, peppercorns, cloves, mace, and chopped mushrooms. Cover with buttered paper. Simmer for half an hour and drain. Melt 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and cook in it 2 tablespoonfuls of flour. Add a chopped shallot and enough of the eel liquor to make the required quantity of sauce. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add half a cupful of stock and 2 wineglassfuls of port wine. Bring to the boil, strain, add a few chopped mushrooms, a tablespoonful of butter, and minced parsley, lemon juice, and anchovy paste to season. Pour the sauce over the eels and serve. Stewed Eels à l'américaine. Use 3 pounds of cleaned and skinned eel with all the fat removed. Cut in 2-inch pieces, season with pepper and salt and chopped onion, and put in a double boiler with half a cup of butter. Sprinkle with parsley, cover tightly, and cook for about an hour and a half. Serve in a deep dish. Stewed Eels à la poulette. Cut cleaned eels into 2-inch pieces and cook until tender in stock. Thicken with butter and flour cooked together. Add half a dozen chopped mushrooms and salt, pepper, grated onion, and minced parsley to season. Boil for 20 minutes. Add the juice of a lemon and serve. Stewed Eels à la canotière. Fry a chopped onion in butter. Add a pound of rice and cook brown. Add 4 cupfuls of fish stock, seasoning with red and white pepper, caver, and cook for 20 minutes. Take from the fire, add half a cupful each of butter and tomato sauce. Prepare the eels according to directions given for Eels à la lyonnaise, adding a tablespoonful of anchovy essence to the sauce. Serve with a border of the rice. Stewed Eels à la genevoise. Prepare 2 eels, cut into 4-inch lengths. Put into a saucepan with a sliced carrot, an onion, a bunch of parsley, 2 cloves of garlic, and salt and peppercorns to season. Put in enough cider to cover the fish and simmer for 15 minutes. Take up the fish, strain the sauce, and thicken it with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter to the sauce. Reheat, pour over the eels, and garnish with small onions fried brown in butter and sugar. Matelote of Eels 1. Prepare and cut up the fish according to directions previously given. Put into a saucepan with 1 cupful each of stock and claret, a bruised clove of garlic, a whole pepper, a sliced onion, a bay leaf, and a pinch each of thyme, cloves, parsley, and salt. Take out the fish, strain the sauce, add it to a tablespoonful each of butter and flour cooked together, and pour over the fish. Matelote of Eels 2. Cut 1.5 pounds of prepared eels into 2-inch pieces and fry for 2 minutes in butter. Add a wineglassful of claret and 3 tablespoonfuls each of stock and mushroom liqueur. Season with salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg, and a pinch of powdered sweet herbs. Add 6 small onions and 6 button mushrooms. Cook for half an hour and thicken with a tablespoonful each of butter and flour cooked together. Matelote of Eels 3. Prepare 2 eels and cut them into 2-inch lengths. Cover with cold salted water and bring to the boil. Add an onion, a dozen cloves, and 2 tablespoonfuls of vinegar. Boil for 15 minutes, drain, dry, roll in flour, and fry brown in butter. Add 2 cupfuls of boiling water and salt, pepper, and fine herbs to season. Add a cupful of button onions, peeled and fried brown in butter and sugar. Cover and simmer for 1 hour. If the sauce should evaporate, add more boiling water. When done, add half a cupful of wine and serve. Matelote of Eels à la Parisienne. Clean and cut the eels into 4-inch pieces. Cover with white wine and season with sliced carrot and chopped mushrooms. Add also the liqueur from 3 dozen parboiled oysters. Simmer until the eels are done and drain. Add to the liqueur half a cup of white stock and thicken with flour cooked in butter. Add 2 wineglassfuls of white wine and boil until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire and add the yolks of 4 eggs beaten smooth with the juice of half a lemon, a tablespoonful of butter, and a grating of nutmeg. Add the parboiled oysters and a handful of button mushrooms. Reheat, pour over the fish, and serve. Matelote of Eels à la Genoise. Prepare the eels and cut into 4-inch lengths. Cover with claret or burgundy and add sliced carrot, onion, minced parsley, chopped mushrooms, thyme, a bay leaf, mace, cloves, and peppercorns to season. Simmer until done and drain. Add to the liqueur half a cupful of beef stock and thicken it with browned flour. Strain through a fine sieve and add a tablespoonful of butter, a little anchovy paste, a teaspoonful of minced parsley, a grating of nutmeg, and a little lemon juice. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve. Matelote of Eels à la Bordelaise. Cut the eels into 3-inch lengths and cover with a bottle of claret. Season with carrot, onion, parsley, chopped mushrooms, thyme, bay leaf, mace, cloves, and peppercorns. Simmer for half an hour and drain. Thicken the liqueur with browned flour rubbed smooth with butter. Add 2 wineglassfuls of claret and bring to the boil. Skim. Add a teaspoonful of capers, a pounded clove of garlic, a little butter, grated nutmeg, and anchovy paste to season. Reheat, pour over the fish, and serve. Broiled Eels. Cut into short pieces 1.5 pounds of eels which have been skinned and cleaned. Put into a saucepan, cover with cold water, add a tablespoonful of salt, 6 whole peppers, 1 red onion, and a cupful of vinegar. Simmer for half an hour. Drain and serve on a platter with melted butter, lemon juice, and minced parsley. Pickled Eels. Clean and cut 3 pounds of eels into 6-inch lengths. Cover with salt, let stand for 3 hours, then rinse thoroughly. Boil together for 15 minutes 1 cupful of vinegar, 1 cupful of water, a sliced onion, 2 bay leaves, 3 allspice, and a slice of lemon. Put in half of the eels and simmer until tender. Take out and cook the remaining half. Let the vinegar cool before pouring over the eels. Green Eels. Boil together an onion, a bunch of parsley, a pinch of celery seed, and a tablespoonful of mixed spices in a little water. Add 2 cleaned and cut eels with water to cover and simmer until done. Strain the sauce, thicken with butter and flour cooked together, and pour over the eels. Serve with boiled potatoes and cucumber salad. Baked eels. Skin and parboil, cut into 2-inch pieces and put into a baking pan. Dredge with flour, season with salt and pepper, and add half a cupful of water. Bake for 20 minutes and take out. Thicken the gravy with a tablespoonful of flour rubbed smooth with a little of the liquid. Add a tablespoonful of butter, a teaspoonful of Worcestershire sauce, and add enough boiling water to make the sauce of the proper consistency. Bring to the boil and pour around the eels. Baked eels with tartar sauce. Clean and skin 2 large eels. Wrap in a wet cloth and simmer for 15 minutes in court bouillon. Cook in the liquor. Take out, wipe dry, and cover with seasoned crumbs. Spread with 2 eggs beaten with 1 tablespoonful of olive oil and sprinkle with crumbs. Put into a baking pan with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and bake for half an hour, basting twice. Serve with tartar sauce. English Eel Pie. Skin, clean, and cut up 2 large eels. Cook with 1 tablespoonful of butter, half a cupful of chopped mushrooms, a tablespoonful of chopped parsley, a minced onion, a bay leaf, salt, pepper, the rind of a lemon, a wineglassful of sherry, and a cupful of beef stock. Cook until the eels are tender. Strain the sauce, and thicken with butter and flour. Line a baking dish with pastry, put the eels in it, and pour the sauce over with sliced hard-boiled eggs on top. Cover with pastry, brush with yolk of egg, and bake for an hour in a moderate oven. Serve either hot or cold. Collared eels. Clean, split, and bone 1 large eel, and season with salt and pepper. Chop together 3 hard-boiled eggs, a beet, a tablespoonful of capers, 2 pickles, 1 onion, and 3 anchovies. Add salt and pepper. Cover the eel with the mixture, tie in a cloth, and cook with a bay leaf for half an hour in equal parts of vinegar and water. Drain, untie, and put into a mold with aspic jelly or with beef stock to which sufficient dissolved gelatin has been added. Serve cold with mayonnaise. Eels en brochette. Boil the eel in a court bouillon and cut into 2-inch pieces. Dip into egg and crumbs and string on steel skewers, alternating with squares of bacon. Bake in the oven and serve on toast. Creamed eels. Clean and cut up the eels and stew according to directions previously given. Pour over a cream sauce, seasoned with salt, paprika, onion juice, and minced parsley. End of section 13.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Reading by Robin Cotter, Toronto, Ontario, March 2007. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 14. 15 Ways to Cook Finnan Haddie. Boiled finnan haddie. 1. Divide into convenient pieces, cover with boiling water, add a teaspoonful of sugar, and boil for 15 minutes. Take up on a hot platter, remove the skin, and dot with butter. Boiled finnan haddie. 2. Cover the fish with boiling water, boil for 5 minutes, drain, cover with melted butter, and serve with plain boiled potatoes. Broiled Finnan Haddie I. Brown a haddie on a greased broiler. Cover with hot water. Let stand for 10 minutes and drain. Spread with butter and sprinkle with pepper. Broiled Finnan Haddie II. Cut the haddie into small squares, skin and parboil it. Wipe dry, broil on a buttered gridiron, and serve with melted butter. Broiled Finnan Haddie III. Wash the fish thoroughly, and let stand in cold water for 3/4 of an hour. Then cover with boiling water for 5 minutes. Wipe dry, rub with butter and lemon juice, and broil for 15 minutes. Serve with melted butter or tartar sauce. Broiled Finnan Haddie IV. Wash the fish and soak for half an hour in cold water, skin side up. Cover with water just below the boiling point, and let stand for 15 minutes. Wipe dry, brush with olive oil, and broil slowly. Serve with melted butter and lemon juice. Baked Finnan Haddie I. Pour boiling water over the fish, and let it stand for 10 minutes. Take it out of the water, lay it in a baking pan, brush with butter and pepper, and bake for 15 minutes. Baked Finnan Haddie II. Put a haddie into a frying pan. Pour over it half a cupful of milk and half a cupful of water. Heat slowly, and let stand just below the boiling point for half an hour. Pour off the liquid, spread with butter, and bake for 25 minutes in a hot oven. Scalloped Finnan Haddie. Prepare the fish according to the directions given in the preceding recipe. After drying, remove the skin and bones and flake with a fork. Butter a baking dish and put the fish into it. Pour over it a sauce made of 2 tablespoonfuls each of butter and flour cooked together and added to 2 cupfuls of milk. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Toasted Finnan Haddie. Brush the fish with butter and sprinkle it with pepper. Broil until cooked through, and serve with toast. Finnan Haddie a la Delmonico. Flake half a pound of freshened Finnan Haddie and fry in a little butter. Add 1 cupful of cream, beaten with the yolk of a raw egg. Thicken with a tablespoonful of flour, rubbed smooth with a little of the cream. Add a hard-boiled egg chopped fine, and a teaspoonful of grated cheese. Serve on toast. Savory Finnan Haddie. Dip the fish in boiling water, take out all the bones and skin, mash the meat with a tablespoonful each of butter and cream, seasoning with salt, pepper, and lemon juice. Cook until thick and pour over slices of buttered toast. Finnan Haddie Hash. Prepare the fish according to directions given for boiled Finnan Haddie. Mix with an equal quantity of hot mashed potatoes, moisten with cream, and season with chopped green peppers fried in oil. Finnan Haddie with tomatoes. Lay a haddie in a deep dish, cover with boiling water, and let stand for 10 minutes. Drain and remove skin and break in good-sized flakes. Cook 2 level tablespoonfuls of butter and a tablespoonful of finely minced onion in a saucepan until golden brown. Add 1 cupful of the solid part of canned tomatoes. When it begins to simmer, add salt and pepper to taste. Then add the prepared fish and simmer for 5 minutes. Add 1 tablespoonful of finely minced parsley and serve. Creamed Finnan Haddie. Parboil, drain, and flake the fish. Reheat with shredded fried green peppers in a cream sauce. Canned pimentos may be used instead of the green peppers. End of Section 14.